I mean, even the rocket program in America, the
Yeah,
aerospace and rocketry program is also from a student of Aleister Crowley. You would
yeah.
be surprised at how much this all interconnects,
And
surprising, isn't it?
I know they. I think his name was Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons, who came up with the idea of rocket fuel, and then he himself have mentioned in some book, I think, of his, where he said that. Correct me if I'm wrong. He said that, this he got the idea or the concept from communicating from an extraterrestrial being, and that extraterrestrial being called himself Dajjal or something relates a full name which had, like, Dajjal in it, something like that. Is that correct?
You're pretty much, yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a fascinating, like Jack Parsons is a fascinating person because at the same time, while he was developing the rocket program, you have a rocket program in development in Russia, and I have to look up his name to refresh my memory. But he too was in contact with an ET being. You also have Tesla. Nikolai Tesla said that he was in contact with Martian extraterrestrial beings that was in contact with him. You'll find even amongst the Muslim scientists who explored alchemy in the early days, many of them said that they were in contact with people from the stars, and some even went as far to say that the discoveries they made pertaining to alchemy were encouraged, by the jinn. These are sometimes uncomfortable things people want to talk about, because we often say, Muslim scientists produce this, that, and the other. But when you look at it on at face value, it sounds great. But when we delve into it from an Islamic perspective of Tawheed, and you'll find that some discoveries were pushed that way. Like Sheikh al-Islam, he mentions that one of these alchemists, he said that inside the plant that he was working on, a voice would emanate, and it would talk to him, and the plant would tell him of the beneficial properties inside it, and then the methodology of how to extract that compound to make use of it. And Sheikh al-Islam, he said that this is nothing but the jinn. This is the devil inside the plant that would do that to encourage mankind down that route. These type of, like, Parsons and so on and so forth, like the names that they give, maybe it does sound like a Dajjal in part of the name, but this is clearly an outside influence. There's a man in the American government today who's part of NASA, and he's a multi-millionaire. He goes in. It's written in a book by a lady called Diana Pasulka, and her book is called American Cosmic. And in that book, she talks about this guy she meets. It's not a novel. It's it's a fact, a book of truth, yeah, or a science book. And she said that she was invited by this gentleman. She calls him Tyler Durden from the Fight Club movie, but his real name is called Timothy Taylor, or Tim Taylor. And this guy, he was part of NASA, and he was part of the Challenger launch in the 1980s, right? That rocket that was going to challenge the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that ended up getting destroyed, and Allah is the only power. So he was part of the rocket program in NASA. He's part of NASA, but what he described is he would receive downloads. He said he would receive information from outside, and we see them as jinn, right? But he called them ultra terrestrials. So these beings would provide for him information about science. And he invented and developed many technologies, both biomedical and space-based technologies, which he's made multiple millions, hundreds of millions of pounds. And he has businesses. And there's many people like that, according to Diana Pasulka, who receive these downloads. And in her second book, I think it's called, one second, I'll give you the name of the book. Her second book, which didn't come out long ago, it's called Encounters, where she talks about other people who have had, let's say, interactions with non-human intelligence, ultra terrestrials, where they're providing information through downloads. So they go into like a meditative state, and in this while they're meditating, they would receive information of how to create and design and, different technologies. And these people have benefited financially from this. To add one final thing on this particular topic, allegedly it's very common amongst high functioning scientists to have these type of downloads. One
Wow,
second.
that's fascinating.
Well, my monitor's about to turn off, so I don't know why. Oh, there we go. It's a new monitor, so I didn't know how to do. Yeah, so sorry about that, brother. So yeah, just going back to it. So Diana Pasulka, she's investigated and talked to different people, and high functioning individuals, many of them say that they receive these downloads and they're being guided from outside. It's even, the Renaissance period and times of enlightenment, they call it. Many people say that they were in contact with what they describe as a muse, where they would talk to.
Wow.
You understand this? You know about the muse. So it's where
I don't actually.
Okay, so a muse was like it's like an allegorical statement normally that people say that they're in contact with their own consciousness. They're trying to figure things out, but some have suggested that it was actually another creature, like an ultra terrestrial, that would be guiding them psychologically, of how to do things, and giving them advice in life and so on and so forth. So some are quite vocal about it and say, yeah, not all of what I've discovered and done is through myself, but rather been guided towards it. And they also put this down to certain phenomena, which they call what's the name of it? I forgot the name. It's where synchronicity, that's the word they use, where you have strange synchronicities, where you'll be working on one particular topic and you bump into someone who would add to your research or whatever. So they would say it's not happening by accident. This is synchronized. This is meant to happen. It's kind of like qadar, as we would call it, but this is something else that maybe an external being is encouraging them to make these connections.
Wow.
The thing is, it all sounds very strange, and to Muslims, like, well, doesn't really affect our religion in any way, shape, or form, but it's how they're interpreting it, and the way they view it is that it's from an outside entity, an ultra terrestrial, guiding them towards the technologies and things we have today. And one could wonder and ponder over the ideas of why does society from the top down encourage so much anti Sharia ideas. One could argue that, from definitely from a psychological perspective, that people's minds are completely 180 the opposite to what Quran and Sunnah is. And I don't think this is happening by accident. I think this is definitely planned, and this is part of the plan of the Shaitan Nirajim.